Creating label legends with Vectorworks Spotlight 2021. If you're using Vectorworks Spotlight 2020, this function works almost identically. In Vectorworks Spotlight, all of the little details that are required in the USITT graphic standard, such as the focus for a light, the color, and here this is a Lee filters 161, the beam designation, the gate accessory, instrument number, circuit, and channel. And here at BGSU, we use the rectangle for the address. All of these things don't come easily in Spotlight. You have to create something called a label legend to make that happen. The beam designation actually works in the graphic symbol already, so that one you don't have to worry about. Gate accessories are added using the accessory tool and can vary from gobos to gobo rotators to irises to all kinds of other little animals that go in the gate. Wattage I've scratched out because nobody uses that anymore. So it is not a standard part of a USITT graphic light plot. Okay, switch over to Vectorworks Spotlight. I'm going to insert a lighting device that's going to be a source forward 36-degree fixture. And when I zoom in on it, you'll see that it's just a plain fixture. It doesn't have any of those little bits of information attached to it. Over in the Object Information palette, the OIP, I can give it all of the little details, like I'll make it be instrument number 1. I'll put a Roscoe Lux number 33 in the color. I'm going to pretend that I know where it's going to go in the theater and what circuit it ought to go to. So I'm going to give it dimmer number 101. Dimmer and circuit number in our theaters are the same thing. And I'm going to want it to be in channel 1. I'm going to focus it on area A, which is way down at the bottom. Close to the bottom, in the little field that says focus. And all of those things are now part of that light. However, when you look at it, right at first, it ought to be obvious there are none of those things showing. So what you have to do in Spotlight is create something called a label legend. So you go to Spotlight, pull down, drop down to label legend, and click on the little one that says Label Legend Manager. This is how you create new ones. When you first open up your version of Spotlight, if you haven't created any label legends already, this list is blank. What you do is click the Add button, and you immediately get the Add New Legend pop-up window where you can start creating your label legend. You have to name it. I'm going to name this one Label Legend 1 Boon. You also have to spend a little time and expand these columns because they didn't make them so you could actually read what's in them. So the first step is to determine what you're going to use in the 2D version. For what we need, it's going to be the unit number, the color, the dimmer, the channel, and then way down the list, the 69th item is the focus. We're not going to create a 3D label legend that is almost never used, but you might right away say, okay, now you've told them what numbers, how do you tell it what little shape to put it in? So the channel number goes in the circle at the back. What you do is just click on the container type, which is what Vectorworks Spotlight calls the hexagon or the circle or the rectangle or the triangle. You just click on the container type, toggle along until you get the one you want. Dimmer number needs to be a hexagon. Oops, didn't wait a sec. Those are the only two that get a container. Another cute trick is this column, which is right reading. I'm going to make the dimmer and the channel number be right reading, which means they will always print straight up and down, even if the label legend itself is rotated over at an angle. The numbers, these two numbers, will always go straight up and down. I actually want to leave the color number, the unit number, and the focus designation oriented with the light, but these two, dimmer and channel, straight up and down. I think that just looks a little bit better. Down here is a sample symbol. This symbol is only going to be used in creating the two-dimensional layout, so it almost doesn't matter what it is, but it is nice if it matches what you intend to use this symbol for. In a full-scale Vectorworks Spotlight light plot, you might have several label legends set up depending on, and you would use them depending on where the light is hung, how it's oriented, how crowded the lighting position is, all of those things. The other thing worth talking about for a second is this little click box that says non-rotating. I'm actually not going to use that. I don't want this symbol, this label legend to rotate. So, I don't want it to not rotate. I do want it to rotate with the symbol. So if I put in a lighting symbol pointed straight stage right, off to your left on the drawing, I'm going to want my label legend to always stick straight out of the rear of the light in whatever orientation it's in. So that's the reason why I don't want to click this non-rotating thing. Like I said before, sometimes you do want that on certain label legends. So, okay, this is, I think, good to go. We'll see. Click OK. Next thing is you want to make this one active and make sure it's selected. And if you were to click Done right now, you would actually be sadly disappointed. It's not quite ready to go yet. What you have to do is edit the 2D layout. And now you get this edit symbols spot where you can actually move things around and get, like here, the unit number. I just click and drag over into the middle of the body of the light. That's where I want my unit number to go. Color goes out front. If you remember from that little USITT standard, here's the instrument number, here's the color number out front. I'm going to put my dimmer in its hexagon right behind the light. And I'm going to put the channel in its little circle right behind the light, right behind the dimmer. And then I'm going to put the focus out front, in front of color, just like the USITT standard. Last thing, I know, because I've tried to get this right in the past. This is a spot where you can change the font and the size of the numbers that are going to appear. For example, I could make my unit number a little smaller, take it down to a 4-point. I could make my channel number a little bit bigger because, after all, that's an important number, isn't it? Well, we'll see. Give me a second. And then when you think it's all good, you can just hit exit symbol. You don't have to save it. You don't have to do anything. It's good to go. I'm going to make sure my source for 36 degree is actually selected. It's hard to see the colors. I don't have a really bright selection color done. And I'm going to go down to the bottom and sneak up on, here it is, use legend, which is a little pull down. Nudge this over so you can actually see. I'm going to use the one called label legend boon, LL1 boon, and hit enter. And here, lo and behold, are all my little things that I've added. The focus, color, unit number, also known as instrument number, the dimmer or circuit that it's going to be plugged in at, and the control channel number. Our control channels go up into 4 digits. If you wanted to use like a 3-digit number, for example, I'll use circuit 999. You'll discover it's bigger than the container. Also, this instrument number is pretty puny. I don't like it. It's too small. Well, it's not a bad thing. You can go back to your label legend manager and re-edit this one. Go back into edit 2D layout. If you had forgotten a field, you can even go back in and edit fields and add a field. Here's my 2D layout. And instead of 8 point, I've worked this out ahead of time. And 6.5 point size will actually fit with a 2-digit number. So right at first, this doesn't work like Microsoft Word. You can't just edit the little number right there. What you have to do is hit set size. In points, it's 6.5. Hit OK. Did I do that right? I'm going to change it both at the same time. There we go. I'm going to change my unit number to something a little bit bigger. I'm going to make it be a 7 point, maybe an 8 point. Let's try that just for fun. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, it's a little cramped. I would go back in and change it down from 6.5 to something like maybe 6 or even 5.5. There's a second way to go, which is you can change your container sizes. It's a little bit complicated, so I don't really recommend doing that, but I'll show you anyway, just so that if you ever need to do it, you can get yourself there. First thing you need to do is get your resource manager opened. And for some reason I closed mine, probably because I was mad at it. And if you click this little plus, it'll actually stay open for a while. Here are the containers. Notice I'm in Open Files, Untitled 4, and you double click on the containers. Here's my 4 containers. One thing, like I said, it might be helpful is to make a new slightly larger container than the circle that's already there. I also don't really like the point size, the pin size for these containers. This looks a little on the super thin, wimpy side for me. It's supposed to be in the USITT standard that the containers are medium weight line, and this looks more like a lightweight line to me that comes in native Vectorworks. So here's the trick to making a container. You can draw any shape that you want. So I'm going to draw a circle and make it be 8 inches diameter. This will be a pretty robust size circle than the one that was there before. Can you see? It's just a wee bit larger. You know, I don't want to create something that covers the state of Rhode Island. This is fine. I've also made it be a solid object, but it's got a solid fill, which is good. You want your these parts, your label legend, to actually block out anything in the drawing underneath them. And like I said, I'm going to make them be a heavier weight line. Here's a 0.18 millimeter. That's lovely. The trick, so I'm going to make a hexagon as well. That's about the same size. So I'm actually going to draw right on top of this. With hexagons, you choose this polygon drawing tool, and trying to get it to constrain correctly. Set the number of sides up here to 6, and it'll draw a hexagon. If you set number of sides to 8, it would draw an octagon. If you set it to 144, it would draw one of those dodecahedrons. It'll do what you tell it. So I'm also going to make it a 0.18. I'll pull it off to the side just a little bit so that I can keep the two shapes separate. So now, how do you get these shapes into your resource manager? They have to be converted to a symbol. So you do the modify menu at the top, hit create symbol, give it a name. I'll make this be circle large. And then all the other sort of presets are just fine. Hit OK. Another box will open called selection folder. And this says where you want the thing to go, what the destination folder ought to be. And it should be containers in my drawing that's currently titled Untitled number 4. Not a very good title. And then look over here, circle large. It's popped up. That's nice. I'm going to do the same with the hexagon. Go to modify, create symbol. I'll call it hexagon large. Hit OK. Set the destination to containers. And lo and behold, here's hexagon large. That's a lovely thing, isn't it? So now, if you want to go ahead and tell the resource manager to go away, that's fine. I'll even completely close it there. So now, if you wanted these slightly larger containers to make up your label legend, what you need to do is create a new label legend by go to Label Legend Manager, duplicate the one that's already there, change it to LL2, boom. Switch these containers to, there's circle large, there's hexagon large. Oh, and I'm just too impatient. There you go. Oh, see, once again, I'm just too impatient. It takes, about 1/10 of a second for the new name to pop up, and by that point, I've already clicked it again. Notice my new. Notice I don't think I fixed the new one. I think I fixed the old one. Yep, sure enough. Okay, fix the new one. Hexagon large. Change circle to circle large. I'm going to set it to be active. I'm going to edit the 2D layout just to make sure. And sure enough, things are a little bit squished on the back end of my light. I have my move amount set to 1/2 inch right now. So I can just select the channel and the container and use arrows up and down to move it around and not have to use my shaky hands to try to maneuver things. So I'll hit exit symbol. I'm going to switch this light fixture to my new favorite symbol, which is LL2 boon. We'll see how it looks. Okay, so there's a robust channel number and a nice dimmer number right there. My unit number looks nice and large. It sticks right out. I would be happy with this. That's how you do it.